Alright, this is the big barrier turn for a couple of players. I haven't decided yet. I'm always tossing that around. I am definitely more inclined towards not taking the pass, probably because of the years with the expanded cards, but we're not sure. One thing I wanted to note, though, we did the expansion. Got some differentiation now in the census. The people who've taken losses or built boats or whatever are falling a little behind, which is good. It means they move later in the turn. In a way, you kind of want to keep your movement low, your census lower, because that allows you more flexibility in choosing those good attacks like the Thracians were able to do, which they were able to do just based on the AST location. Take care of some of the movement. I'll come in if anything really exciting is happening, but I don't foresee it. There may be some conflict over here. The Italians are going to try to avoid it, though. They're going to try to run away from those Thracians. They got a hard job ahead of them. They can't run into two places. No matter what, they're going to be adjacent to Thracians, and two Thracians moving in can hit them. But here's their bonus. They get to move last. So they get to make the choice if they want to kill a Thracian. So if the Thracians move into here, the Italians can move two guys in, lose a guy, in order to kill the Thracian and put a further block. Whether or not they want to do that, I don't know. We'll see. Looking over my boat choices, the Africans have decided to build one going for Sicily. Italy's not going to, but Crete's got a problem here. They have, this is fine, but over here on Crete they have 6 guys. Now, they could pile in and build up a city. Alternatively, they could spend one guy to keep this boat alive and sail someone somewhere else. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe to Thera. It's a tough call which way to go. Their population is dwindling because of the boat already. Another alternative, of course, would be to spend 2 and sail a significant portion over into Greece. That's kind of more attractive because they're going to have to spend one next turn to keep that boat alive. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Doesn't matter that I don't have anyone here. Anyway, we'll see how this turns out. Nobody else is really intrigued by boats. I mean, sure, Thrace could use one and cut a shortcut, but that kind of feels not Thracian to me. And it's too late now. They see what the Cretans are doing. The way they saw it, they weren't going to even have to compete down here. Now, well, it looks like Crete's going to compete on both coasts, which could be risky for them. Babylon, not interested in boats. Egypt, again, could speed up here, but they can't afford it. All right, let's see where we go. Okay, so that's the last of my movement, and everybody's moved. The Cretans have moved into the Peloponnesus. They've spread out across here. There hasn't been any conflict, and the Babylonians and Egyptians are building cities. The Babylonians are building what I consider the Babylonian Wall. These 3 spaces, as soon as they can get them all filled. It prevents their own expansion, though, so that's the risk to it. But it kind of seals off this dangerous enemy. They've got a lot of room back here for the early part of the game. But eventually, that limits them to 7 cities, so they got to be kind of careful with that. Other powers, though, Italy to some extent, Thrace, Assyria, are building these, in Africa, are building these huge shells, grabbing as much territory as they can, maybe more than they need. I've played games where I have like this central area where I have a couple of city spots that I'm just not using because I'm trying to deprive other people of city spots. Make them use more of their population if they want to build a city or go to war. Either one's fine. I'm just taking a scarce resource. So we're not going to have any battles. Now we go, well, to city building, and the Babylonians and Egyptians will each build 2 cities. And the game's flavor starts to change here. It's been really, really easy so far. And not terribly interesting. Although one of the basic games is all about this. Now, we start drawing. You acquire trade cards, fewest cities first, but we're both at 2. I don't remember what the tiebreaker is for that. So let me see. I'm guessing it goes in AST order, which is not good for the guys at the end, but that's okay. In this case, it's not too big a deal, so let's see. Here's what Babylon gets. They get one from the 1 deck, one from the 2 deck, and it's no real shock. You kind of know what it's going to end up as, but that's okay. These aren't going to be able to be traded because you need 3 cards to do a trade. But they're building up their potential for buying stuff. We're going to see if they can make it through this next thing. If they can't make it to the 3 color period, then I screwed up by not delaying a turn. Because the extra population is a definite bonus. And there is the threat. Enemies coming in can screw with their kind of delicate economies. All right. Well, no civilization cards, no calamities. Now we alter the AST and everybody goes forward. Africa's not at a barrier here. But Crete and Assyria are. And Babylon and Egypt have both gotten their 2 cities. So now Crete and Assyria have to build 2 cities this next turn. It's going to reduce Assyria's barbaric potential, right? Thrace is still this monster. But of course Italy is also a potential monster there. And Africa as well, but they're not as dangerous really. Alright, well, that's the end of another turn. I got time for one more before bedtime, I think. I'm not sure about that. It's probably my bedtime already. But that's okay. I've got a video loading, which I got to deal with afterwards. So, now we have something new. Collect taxation. Both Egypt and Babylon have 2 cities each, and they have to collect 2 taxes per city. Remember, bad things happen if you don't have this money, or if you don't have the stock for this. So you got to make sure to keep that in place. And those bad things are your city's revolt. They go to someone else. All right, so that's some bonus money. That can be used for building ships. It can be used towards these. It can't be used in trades, though. And now we go through the regular steps. The population expansion, the military, etc. I'll get to them. Okay, there was no boat building. Indeed, all the boats kind of disappeared. But I want to point out the disparity now in the populations. We got Egypt and Babylon down at the bottom, and we knew that was going to happen. But you can see, as things start changing and people are doing things, those numbers very seldomly end up in one big stack, or mainly a big stack, because everybody's been doing stuff and those numbers are getting mutated and modified in various ways. Alright, so our first is going to be the Assyrians, and this is a turn where they got to build some cities, so we'll see how many they want to build. Sometimes they like to keep their population kind of high, sometimes they want to build maximum cities, which I think is like 4 this turn, I'm not sure. Let's see, they're at 32, so yeah. And some interesting factors here after movement. So, Assyria needs to build 2 cities. Crete could have thrown a couple of people in here and fought a battle. This is only 6 guys here. Destroyed one of the Assyrian cities to prevent them from building them. The disadvantage to that, there'll be more Assyrian troops on their border. They'll be pissed at them. And it doesn't even stop them from going forward. So there's not a lot of bonus to it. It's probably better off to try to keep the peace here. They may even be able to reach some sort of stable agreement. Assyria's got a lot of land. We're not really sure how much they want to violate us. The Cretans also had to build a city here, and this may be the end of their Grecian experience. They're mainly focused over here on Asia Minor, so they kind of have to worry. They're always kind of strangled population-wise. There's just not a lot of space in these areas to survive off of. So they're always shipping people back and forth trying to fill places. But it's going to be tough once the Italians start sliding down with the population centers up here. Of course, if the Thracians get into a battle with them, that'll be a problem. And the Thracians have been very aggressive. They've pushed down here. They haven't built many cities, only one. They don't need them yet, neither does Italy. But you can see they pushed all the way down into the boot. On the other hand, the Italians pushed north, and in fact are killing off Thracians. Here 3, they're going to kill 1. Here they're going to kill both of these to try to solidify their hold on their territory. They don't want this incursion going on in them. And, well, let's take care of the conflict because it's time to do so. It doesn't really matter the order you do it in. It's really a space-by-space thing. But, well, there aren't a lot. I think they're just over here. So let's take a look at this one. Thrace loses a piece. Italy loses a piece. Thrace loses a piece. And that's all. And there are 3 Italians left. And here, Thrace loses a piece. And now the population's at 4. So it's safe. All right. And now lots and lots of cities are going to be built. And trade cards are going to come out. And we may just see our first trades. Assyria is going to have 3 cards. Babylon and Egypt are each going to have 4. 2 from before and 2 from now. This is kind of probably a little too early for a trade to happen, but we'll see. Well, indeed, there was no trading going on. Egypt and Babylon both had a hand like this. A mix of all possible options. None of the 3-point traders really want to be involved in it. Basically, it's a let's see what we get next turn when we need it. And next turn, it may be needed. Let's see who goes forward. Assyria, Crete, they both have their 2 cities. Thrace, Italy. Africa doesn't need it, but they have 3 cities right now, which is pretty potent. Of course, they could be knocked down to 1 city and then not be able to go forward here where they normally would have been able to. That's kind of one of the little twists of that change, but nobody's going to attack them that heavily, I think. All right, well, it's time for bed for me. I'll probably get a turn in tomorrow morning before work, maybe 2. I doubt it, though. All right. This is long enough. I'm going to load this one up, too. It's going to keep me up later, though.